Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. You're watching IPO Adda, and the company in focus today is ESAF Small Finance Bank. The company is coming out with an IPO which opens on November 3rd, closes on 7th, price between 57 to 60 rupees a share. The IPO comprises of 390.7 crores of fresh fundraising and OFS of 72.3, where the existing shareholders, which is ESAF Financial Holdings, PNB MetLife, and Bajaj Allianz Life, are offloading shares through OFS. And joining me is Kadambelil Paul Thomas, who is the MD and CEO, and Girish CP, who is the CFO of the bank. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on BQ Prime. My first question to you, sir. You're raising 390 odd crores in fresh equity. How will your metrics change post this fresh funding, and what is it that it's going to be used for?
Yeah, this will be primarily used for capital, improving the capital adequacy of the bank. Currently, we are at 20.5%, and this will help us to grow the asset business outflow for the next 1 to 2 years.
Mr. Girish, while it will enhance your capital adequacy ratios, how is it going to expand your operations? Because currently your operations are centered around southern India, right?
Yeah, the business we have started in southern India, and therefore there is a little bit concentration in southern India, which we are expanding towards the other parts of India. At present, we have got presence in 23 states, including 2 union territories. So we are expanding our network outside our stronghold states of South India in a big way.
Mr. Thomas, 66 odd % of your advances are in 2 states, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. And you are not largely present in the other big states or top 10 micro loan states like UP or Bihar or West Bengal, Odisha to that extent. What is the timeline or plan of diversification of your portfolio to various other states beyond the southern states?
See, we have a fairly good presence in Maharashtra. We also have a good network in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. And states like Rajasthan, UP, Haryana, all we started just 2 years ago. We have already taken many initiatives to expand the business in these new geographies. We have set up a zonal office in Delhi, and we have divided our branch network into 2. So network 1 for the south and network 2 for the rest of India. So like that, we have taken many initiatives, and in the next 3 to 4 years, we will see the change happening.
So the diversification from southern to all other parts of the country, what percentage do you foresee that diversification happening in terms of getting more advances to the non-southern states?
Yeah, currently Kerala, the home state, holds around 40% of the portfolio. So going forward, we are, as per the current plan itself, it will come down to around 20-25%. So in another, yeah, that plan is already in place and it's working.
Many other small finance banks are looking at consolidating with other regional players to expand their to diversify themselves. So you recently had the AU announcing that. Are you also looking at inorganic growth to do this diversification going forward, or are you open to it? Let me put it this way.
See, as a company, we will always be open to any new ideas of growth, definitely. But we have good presence in these states through local partners, business correspondents. We have already tied up with 22 institutional business correspondents. So they know the local geography, local economy very well. So we will be able to grow through them, definitely. And all the other options, we will be open to it.
Because you have gone through the institutional business correspondence route. These are non-exclusive ones. How do you incentivize them to push your product?
So we have dedicated areas allocated to them. So in that area, they cannot do any. They can only work with ESAF bank. So that way, and they are incentivized. And we have adopted this model to reach out to the last mile from the beginning. So we understand. This market, and before converting to a bank, we as a microfinance company, we worked as a BC, so we know the both sides. So that's where we were able to manage this relationship very well.
Give me a sense of the kind of relationship that the ESAF of small finance has with some of the promoter companies who are also banking correspondents, if I'm not wrong. What is the current relationship that you have with them?
See, one of the shareholder in the holding company is of Agro Cooperative. It is a multi-state cooperative society, which is a widely held more than cooperative society. They were before when we took over the business from the ESAF Microfinance in 2017. They were acting as a business correspondent for the microfinance company. So when we started with them. While we took over the business, we also took over that relationship, and being the first business correspondents, they were able to grow it fast, and all the other institutional business correspondents were onboarded in the last 4 years. So today they manage around 74% of the microfinance business we manage.
This also includes Latani as well?
Pardon?
There were two, right? One was the Agro Cooperative Society and one was Latani, I think, if I'm not wrong.
Lehandi last mile.
Yeah. So that includes that as well. So 70 odd percent comes through your to related party business correspondence. Is there a plan to diversify that as well?
Yeah, we already have taken that steps. That's why we have onboarded another 20 institutional business correspondents from different parts of the country. So they have all started growing the business. So over a period of time, this will come down.
Mr. Thomas, you are into micro loans with a large portion coming from microfinance, and Mr. Girish, step in whenever you want into this. How do you plan to diversify that? Because a large part of that, more than 75% is unsecured in that nature. And in the last 2 quarters, we have seen even the RBI putting out some apprehensions about unsecured loans, how it's getting riskier going by, and many of the NBFCs have stopped or slowed down the process of providing unsecured loans. How do you see that in the states where you're operating? How unsecured loans are working, and whether you are able to recover all the amount?
Small finance banks, they have come from various businesses which they were doing at the time of conversion to SFBs. So ESAF was doing the micro banking for the last 2 decades or so. And therefore, when we converted into a bank, our 99% of our books was micro banking advances, which is unsecured in nature. So over the last 6 years, we have brought it down to 74% as of today. And this is a journey through which we will, going forward also, we will reduce the micro banking exposure to a great extent.
But how do you see the environment?
No, the environment is very conducive because it is not a personal loan type of thing. It is evolved over a period of 30 years, and ESAF has been working in this space for the last 30 years actually. So we were one of the pioneers in microcredit in India. So we have seen all the cycles, and people in the rural and semi-urban areas, they see this is a great support for them. And in 2011, all the microfinance institutions after the Andhra crisis introduced the credit bureaus, and we started sharing the data to the credit bureaus. So we helped the micro borrowers, over more than 6 crore micro borrowers across India to have a credit history. So they value the credit, their credit score, and they wanted to maintain that instead of accept certain events, maybe natural calamities or COVID-like situations. Otherwise, the microfinance across India, microfinance collections are doing well and the repayments are doing well. That's why new companies are also coming to this space. Large banks are coming to this space. So I don't see any challenge in going forward in the micro loan segment.
Girish, yeah.
Yeah, and on the other part of the question, the regulatory, concern which was aired sometime back by the governor on the increased exposure into the unsecured book, it is primarily on the reduction on the productive kind of projects which are reduced during the last couple of years altogether, whereas only the unsecured part of credit card lending, etc., is catching up. So the concern raised was on account of that, not on the micro banking space, because micro banking space is one of the financial inclusion thing which is already in the pivotal point of any regulator as well as the central government.
As of today, our priority sector, 92% of our total advances are priority sector, and 72% of the total advances are agri. But we are already taken steps to diversify the asset book. And so, as Girish said earlier, 12% of the book today is gold loan. And gold loan is a highly secured product, and the capital allocation is also negligible. So it is, and we were able to diversify to gold loan, to mobility, mortgage, and agri. So these are all the segments we have, and MSME. These are already we have diversified, and that process will continue.
So you'll be concentrating more on gold loans in certain states, because that's where the growth is more for these kind of loans.
Not only in southern states, but across the on a stage by stage, we are now adding more branches across India.
Girish, what is the average lending ticket size that you have and the tenure of repayment?
Our average lending to gold loan book is around less than 1 lakh.
And average lending
and
unsecured?
And the tenor of the gold loan typically is 1 year.
Okay.
But the average actual tenor is around 7 to 8 months.
Okay.
And on the micro loans, it is 47,000, and the average tenure is 18 to 24 months.
Okay. And what about the provision? Because you have increased your provision coverage ratio to 74% in the first quarter. How do you will you be aggressively increasing this coverage going forward as well?
As far as provisioning is concerned, our board is little bit conservatively doing the provisions in the sense that the regulatory minimum is on the one side, but our provisioning policy is that we will provide at a higher rate than the minimum required provision by the RBI. And all throughout the COVID period, we were providing very aggressively. And during last year, we have provided the entire COVID book completely in March 23, and we have cleaned up the books in FY 23 by way of an asset sale as well. So provisioning coverage at a higher level is one thing which is mandated by my board every time.
Finally, Mr. Thomas, you are you didn't aggressively you didn't tell us about this inorganic option that you have. You skirted that question, but do you see consolidation happening in this industry much faster?
It is only 5 years. Now we have completed 6 years, and as a bank, we have to now complete these few regulatory licensing conditions of listing and all. So maybe after that, we will explore whenever an opportunity comes.
Gentlemen, it was a pleasure talking to you today on BQ Prime IPO Adda. Your offer is opening on November 3rd and closing on 7th, 57 to 60 rupees, and the total issue size is 463 crores, which includes 390.7 crores of fresh issue. Thank you very much for joining us on BQ Prime.
Thank you very much. Thank you.